Louie Simmons always said that strength is measured in time, not pounds. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would sit down and talk with you guys and gals about this today. If you guys would though, please give me a like down below. It would be greatly appreciated. If you aren't following or subscribed, please follow or subscribe to me now and drop me a comment down below. I would appreciate it so much. And let's jump over into this topic. Sorry I'm not as veiny tonight as I am a lot of times. Just maybe less salt today. But back over to the point. When I say that, and I've quoted that before, I've had other powerlifters, other coaches say, okay, Jason, he says that, but powerlifting is not a speed strength sport. I don't fully agree with that statement, by the way. That's usually a counter to his dynamic effort work. But I think people miss the bigger picture. They're not understanding what he meant because they don't understand Louie Simmons. They never really listen to him. I've probably listened to 200 or 300 hours over the years of Louie talking, podcasts, lectures, seminars, to kind of get a feel for the way that he words things and says things. Again, as pretty much the grandfather of powerlifting, coached over 100 world record holders, has been probably the most influential strength coach ever in the modern world. Innovator. So when he says that, people are thinking only in terms of, oh, he's talking about speed work and explosive power, but he's really not. He meant multiple deeper levels. And when you understand the way he communicates, it makes sense because he likes to say things as a matter of fact. He just states them and moves on. And he expects you to just kind of follow along and understand. It's his manner of communicating. So, and he'll say it well. I mean, you know, strength is measured in time, not pounds. A little deeper level before we jump into an even further deep level would be what he meant is you can only produce maximum force so long. This is one thing that they built the speed work around, and the way he timed the speed work was based upon the fact that he noted you can only produce maximum force for about 3.5 seconds, 3.2 to 3.5 seconds. Beyond that, you slow down. Like if you notice your bar speed slows. So if you don't get through your sticking point inside that time, you will absolutely miss a lift. Period. Every single time. You cannot grind through it. You're done. So when people grind, it usually starts grinding at about the 3.5 second mark if they're able to grind through something. And they always have to have got through their sticking point. So they no longer need the speed to do it. And making that observation that the nervous system is only capable of doing it that quick, he tried to design the speed work around that. Okay, in other words, the total time of your speed work, the concentric time of each set before you have 30 to 45 seconds before the next set, because that's how long your nervous system needs to be, is right around 3 to 3.5 seconds. That's the goal. That's the goal with the time. So that's why it's triples on bench. That's why it's doubles on the squat with the appropriate weights, because he's trying to replicate that, because that's what we come back over to on the maxes. In other words, if you can get the weight moving fast enough, you can lift any weight. And that's the other point too. So when people say, well, no, it's not a speed strength thing, but it is. It is measured in time. Because if you can get a weight moving fast enough from the stop, you will lift it. Right? You get enough speed, you will lift it. So yeah, it is measured in time. It is measured in time. I don't care if it's a world record, if it's 100 pounds over the world record in any lift, if you can get it moving fast enough from the start with enough inertia, you're going to lock it. Just the way it works. So that was what he was looking at. It's like we have to move heavy weights fast. And anyone who says, well, you know, it's not necessarily speed strength sport, they clearly didn't watch Malinichev hit that world record squat with over 1,000 pounds when he did it. Because you go back and watch that, it's like that moved super fast. That was less than a 3-second rep. There was no grinding. It looked like speed work. All-time world record at the time. Very famous video clip. So this is what he means, is that if you can get it moving fast enough, you can lift any weight. And really, if you do not complete a lift in 3.5 seconds, you are in trouble unless you are amazingly good at grinding. And most people are not. Most people are not amazing at grinding. And if they are, it tends to only be on the deadlift. Not so much on the squat, not so much on the bench press. In fact, at least on the squat. How often do you see someone truly grind a truly heavy squat and complete it? Very rare. Not saying it doesn't happen. Very rare. So that is what he meant by it. It's a brilliant statement because it's explaining to you that you really only have about 3.5 seconds, 3 to 3.5 seconds to complete a lift. If you can't do it in that time, you are in trouble. Odds are against you. So work on doing that. And it's been done. Many world records have been broken in those sort of times. It's actually the majority of them. Those slow grinding world records are statistical outliers. They are not common. They're not common at all. And only people with certain gene sets are even capable of pulling them off, something I've noticed. Definitely not fast twitch dominant people. So that's something he meant, but how about the deeper level? Strength is measured in time. How about years under the bar? Because another way to word that, you guys recall I've used this line before. It was Wendler was talking with some other strength coaches from like a CrossFit podcast. And they were saying, look, if you want to get really strong, squat heavy once a week for the next 10 years, you'll get really strong. And they're like, because you don't need to know the other stuff. You'll figure the other stuff out along the way. As long as you stick to that part of the journey, you'll kind of figure out the rest and make it happen. You'll figure out the other secrets and things you need most of the time. Just be along for the ride there. But if you squat heavy every single week, once a week, for 10 years straight, you will be strong. Again, heavy being relative to where you are right now. But that was the point. Strength is measured in time. That is another perspective on that. Because if we think about it, we get stronger over the years. It is about putting in years and years and years and years of work. Consistent, hard, ass-busting work is how you get truly strong. Also, that term you guys always hear, old man strength. So if we look at that perspective of it, strength is measured in time, not pounds. I think that's also what Louie meant. And people would say, why would you think that? Because look at what he talked about of doing this stuff for years and years and years and years. Remember, he would always say the Western linear periodization is broken, that it's a flawed system because it breaks everybody eventually. You get hurt eventually doing it. It's not for the long game. He's like, our system will let you keep doing this for decades. He was a long timer in the game. He coached and did this stuff for like 50 years. And he was making statements like this after over 30 years of coaching. I think that's also what he meant because of the other way he worded stuff. Strength is measured in time, not pounds. It's a brilliant way to look at it. I think all three perspectives work. All three perspectives of it work, not just the dynamic effort end of it. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.